All right, welcome back. It is a terrific Tuesday. It's quite terrific here because as the governor and the mayor of New York continue to send their henchmen down to Staten Island to beat up, rough up, and then ambush local small business owners, there's this story out now that Dan Presti, one of the owners here at Max Pub, got chased down by these sheriffs. They're untrained. They're not supposed to be in the street effectuating arrests. They broke every NYPD protocol, and people are saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" The news says Dan ran somebody over, and they said the guy he ran over has two broken legs, and we can't stand for that. Well, that's why you can't always believe the news, like I talk about a lot here on Liquid Lunch. And you start wondering, well, what drives somebody to that point where they're so scared and so just fearful that they try to, evade because they don't know if they're under attack and they're fear for their life. And someone who always joins us to make our day even more terrific is here right now. Give us a little insight on that. Jennifer Bohr Cuevas is with us. She's one of the finest emergency and disaster clinical sociologists social workers out there. And Jen, I wonder if what happened with Dan and the craziness that ensued is going to start happening more and more just from the frustration levels. What happened here in your view?
Yeah, yeah. I think that now that we're entering the second wave of COVID, I think that it's going to be met with people who are going to be reactive with anger and with rebellion as their freedoms are compromised and as they're being given one restriction after another. However, I did watch the tape of Danny and the car, and I want to pause it
In
and
your view, Jen, I'm sorry to interrupt you because you're so good at this stuff, but in your view, this guy's been the subject of death threats. He's got all kinds of media outside the place. Last week, some Antifa folks, I was in the place and we have video of it. They were outside throwing bottles at the window. So those who think we should just be sheep and sit down and do whatever the governor says, they're mad at Dan for not doing what they think he's supposed to do. And now all of a sudden, these guys come out of the shadows and say, hey, Presti, they don't identify themselves as cops. What goes on in somebody's brain? Tell us, please.
okay. What I did review the tape, and what my view is that Dan's fight or flight response got triggered. And the fight or flight response is a physiological reaction that prepares our bodies to stay and fight our perceived danger or flee, or both. And I think that when he ran to the car, that was the fleeing part. But then I think when he continued to drive forward, even with the sheriff on the hood, he was fighting and fleeing to get away from what he perceived as danger.
So I know we all kind of learned about this somewhere, maybe in, seventh grade science or something. The fight or flight reflex is what kind of determines if you're a human being, I don't know, some kind of species, right? And I think even people that are vegans um, use the determination if it has a central nervous system and has fight or flight to determine if they can eat it, right? So the fight or flight was really what was in effect here, wasn't it?
That's my perception of what happened. And again, it was in the way Danny was running to the car that made me think, wow, this man perceives danger and he's running. And even when he started the car and went forward, that was still a form of running, trying to get away from the danger. I mean, come on, how dare these sheriffs show up in unidentified cars in those black, clothes.
They have wool hats. They have
Parking
on
lot.
black wool, Jen, they have on black wool hats with black face masks. right? Not identifying himself, running. And I agree with you. I was probably the first person to see that last footage that came out. Um, and I was more struck by how fast Dan ran by than all the rest of it because to me, like, you have like run speed and then you have like that another gear that
Peter is
comes.
driving the,
You have that other thing where kind of all the adrenaline kicks in, and
yes,
then you can run like save your life speed. You know
yes.
what I mean? And I felt like he was in a mad dash to get away from it. And
I
by the way, I'd love to have your thoughts on this. Just 3 days earlier, they came in the bar to arrest him and said, "You must leave." And he said, "I don't want to leave my place." And they said, "Well, then we must arrest you." And he said, "Okay, officer, I understand." He put his hands out. So these officers knew that this guy was not inclined to even try or attempt flight because he gave himself up last time. So he's also got another contributing factor to say they know it's not them because they know I'll just give up. So someone's chasing me. Is that plausible in your view?
I agree with you, and I question the way the sheriffs tried to arrest him. If they were, why did they let the business run through the evening? Why didn't they come in and close it down again? So that to me was even fishy. But yeah, I mean, this was a man who only a week and a half ago was just a man trying to feed his family, and now they're positing him as a criminal, and that's I don't believe that that's the case. And like you said, he didn't resist arrest the first time, so I don't believe that he would have resisted the second time had they done it the appropriate way.
Yeah, I feel the same, and I feel terrible for this kid. Um, I was trying to help them in some way, maybe bring a voice to it, maybe to bring more publicity to what they're doing so other people will join in. And then just in the last week, just from hanging around here, I'm seeing,
2 minutes, guys.
wow, this is like, this is not the America I'm accustomed to. When I feel like, there's goon squads are coming in here. Um, Jen, how can someone like Dan or other business out there that are just feel like they're at the end of the rope, how can they help themselves to prevent kind of losing it? And not a lot of people are taking the stress Dan is right now. Like they don't have the long arm of the law looking for them every time they walk out in the street. But how could people kind of just namaste a little bit?
This is not about namaste anymore.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm trying to say good.
I know I've always ministered mindfulness, but
2
no,
minutes.
do the mindfulness at home. But now it's time to just step away when you feel that you're going to act on anger. It is very powerful and can get you in a lot of trouble. So step away, take a break, and then go back to the problem when you feel you can be reasonable.
Understood. So, Jen, now on another note, you may have noticed yesterday I was featured on Fox News a couple times and other channels. I'm taking a significant amount of heat over the jacket I wore yesterday because many people are saying that it was a horrible jacket, and my feelings are hurt. So, how can I recover from these people mocking my fashion forward statement?
I loved it. I thought that it was very posh. You stood out from the crowd.
Yeah, I tend to do that every so often. Yeah, you want to hear something funny, Jen? One of my
Yeah.
friends came by the studio this morning to wish us luck and say, "Hey, if there's anything I can do."
1 minute.
And he said, "I got to show you this." He showed me a text from one of his friends who lives in Rome. His friend sent him a video and said, "Look at this guy, John. I met him with you. He's a famous restaurateur. This guy, Nello. He owned Nello's, right?" And he
Okay.
texted my friend and said, "Hey, isn't this your buddy, John? What a coat." So in Rome, they think it was a nice coat.
I loved it.
All right,
You
well,
looked
30
great,
Jen,
seconds.
Jack.
Jen, I know we haven't seen you in a little bit, but then you were with us yesterday and today, and I'm gonna need to rely on you more because there's a lot of things going on, and we're gonna start to aggregate people across the country that wanna fight back. And many of them may need a little mental help. So, we're gonna need you right now to help the cause.
I'm here. I'm here.
Very good. Jennifer Bohr Cuevas telling us everything you need to know about how you can get yourself through this crisis time right now and what not to do. Even if the long arm of the law is getting crazy with you, you got to be on alert at all times. Jen, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. Anything could happen anytime when we're down here at Max Public House. We'll take a quick break on Biz TV and come back at you right after this.